Hey, creative legend. It's Mio here from Creativity Mindset Mastery. Wanted to talk about mentorship, mentors, the idea of having a mentor as a musician or as an artist. What's cool about it, how to do it, and maybe why you haven't done it yet. So, the main reason I find that musicians don't get into mentoring, well, there are a few reasons, but really the main reason people don't sort of pursue mentoring is because they have this thought or this idea that they should already know how to do it, that their heroes were all self-taught and, they just grew up out of the ground, out of nowhere, and were just amazing and knew how to do it all. And so in this short video, I want to sort of smash that myth so that you can sort of open yourself up to stepping forward, finding a mentor, and really progressing. Because the power of a mentor is that it's basically like having the key to a safe that has all the answers for what you need to do as an artist to be successful and fulfilled. So having a mentor is extremely powerful. For a long time, I avoided getting a mentor, or I just didn't even think about it. I didn't think about it very seriously. And I think it really cost me years of just, thrashing around in the dark, trying to figure it all out. So it comes back to this thing of, I think I should already know how to do this. And then if you're not, as successful as you want to be, then there's all this self-judgment like, oh, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. So I want to encourage you in this to think about mentoring, finding someone who's a little bit ahead of you to learn from. So the example I'm going to use, and I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to see if I can share my screen here because I've actually prepared something. Does not look like it. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of tell you about it. So I'm running a free webinar later this week, which is going to go way into heaps more detail and depth about mentoring. But the first myth I want to talk about, this is kind of myth number 2 from the webinar I'm doing, or the web class, which I will leave a link in this video. Maybe I'll even just drop it in now while we're here. So hold up, but here we go. That should kind of drop that in there, and yep, seems to be a clickable link. So go and click that. So when I was growing up, if you're a musician, this will be the same if you're some other kind of creative person, a painter or filmmaker, a dancer, whatever you do. When I started learning guitar, this myth somehow reaches every guitar player that Jimi Hendrix was self-taught. You hear it all the time. So yeah, Jimi Hendrix was self-taught and he's left-handed and he'd play the guitar upside down, blah, 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 all this stuff. And that kind of gets into your mind and it makes you think, oh, well, I should be self-taught too. I should be able to do this on my own. The problem with that is that Jimi Hendrix was not self-taught. I decided to kind of go off and research this because I thought this just doesn't sound right, because so many other artists in so many other fields have mentors. And there's a reason we have mentors. Like, we learn stuff from our parents. They basically mentor us. And then we have teachers, and teachers at school, they mentor us. Maybe you had a guitar teacher. Maybe they mentored you a little bit as well. I talk about the difference between teaching and mentoring, or having teachers and mentors, in the web class. So, but for this, it made me realize that Jimi Hendrix could not have just learned how to play guitar on his own. Because if you think about what it means to be self-taught, it would mean that he'd never really seen a guitar. He didn't know how they worked. And he would have developed a style that was so unique and so different that he would make, a Juilliard professor, look really zany and out there. So So what happened was Jimi Hendrix had mentors. He actually had two main mentors. They taught him a bit about how to play guitar, but they guided him in his career. One of them actually gave him, or set up for him, his first kind of guitar gig, which was for Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, which was not anything like what he went on to create. But so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the history of Jimi Hendrix and his mentors to hopefully just smash this myth in your mind that you need to do it all on your own and that you need to be a lone wolf and just like you want to be original and just do it all on your own. And you can do that if you want. I have the feeling it's going to take you down some interesting roads, but it may not be that fruitful. So Jimi Hendrix had several mentors. He got his first guitar when he was 15. He used to jam with friends. So his friends would teach him bits and pieces, which is how lots of guitarists get started. They showed him how to play the basic chords, and that was about it. Then his first real mentor was someone called Johnny Jones. He was a mainstay in the blues scene in Tennessee. Jimi Hendrix met him after Jimmy broke his leg in the army and was discharged. And there's a long fabled blues guitar showdown between Hendrix and Johnny Jones at Club Baron in the 1960s. Johnny Jones earned enough applause to be acknowledged as the winner. Johnny acknowledged his influence on Hendrix by saying, "For 2 years, Hendrix was under my wing. I had what he had to have. I had that low-down smell of Mississippi in mine." So that's the first mentor that he had for a while. Second mentor was, this is a long-time mentor, was Billy Davis. So Billy Davis was a guitar player who played with Sam Cooke, James Brown, and Hank Ballard and the Midnighters. They had hits like Do the Twist and many, many others. 2 years before Chubby Checker had a massive hit with his version. They were the first group to have 3 albums in the top 100 all at the same time. And this was before the Beatles came along, and then they were the next group to do it. So Billy Davis met Jimi Hendrix at the Eagle Auditorium in Seattle in 1959. Jimmy was 16 at the time. Billy Davis said about that experience, "There he stands and I'm looking him right in the face, and he had a warm smile on his face, and I shook his hand and said, 'Come on in.' The only thing he wanted to know was about my guitar." Now, to be honestly speaking, he didn't impress me at all the way he played, but what impressed me was his determination. So the first time Jimmy played an electric guitar, it was Billy Davis's guitar. Jimmy saw Billy Davis's Stratocaster and fell in love with it. He didn't even have an electric guitar at that time. But he eventually got one like his mentors. So he was guided by his mentor to sort of, go in that direction. Billy would show him how to play particular riffs and melodies. He also shared with him the technique of sustaining the note, which Jimmy went on to popularize as controlled feedback and distortion. He also taught Jimmy stage presence tricks. So Billy at that time was pretty out there. He was already doing, on stage, he was doing backflips, and he was playing behind his head. He was playing with his teeth. He used to play at times with a hula hoop around the neck of his guitar, and he would swing it around. So stage presence and stagecraft was something that Jimi Hendrix really was mentored on by Billy Davis. So he didn't just come out of the womb with all this charisma and these cool tricks. So Billy also got Jimi Hendrix one of his first jobs as a guitarist. So when Billy went off to the army, he arranged for Hendrix to audition with the Midnighters as his interim replacement, and Hendrix joined them for a short time. Billy mentored Hendrix for years up until Jimmy's death. So I mainly am sharing this story hopefully to rewire your brain about the idea of being mentored, about working with someone who is a couple of steps ahead of you. And, the most quintessential lone wolf original artist, Jimi Hendrix, had mentors for years and years. He wasn't the lone wolf that, the mythology kind of puts out about him. So in my research, I came across many, 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 many other examples of people being mentored. So Kurt Cobain had a mentor and a guitar teacher for years. Sylvia Plath, the writer, was mentored. Leonard Cohen, the musician and poet, was also mentored by Irving Layton, I think. I can't remember right now. There are just so many. There are so many. In the webinar, I actually show a list of about 60 to 70 sort of mentor relationships that if you didn't know about them, you'd imagine this person is just so original because they just, figured it out all on their own. But really, they had mentors for years and years and years. So that's what that webinar and that web class is going to be all about. So if you're watching this, I'm probably going to be running that class, but check out that link anyway. And I hope that was helpful. Hope it was kind of inspiring to know that, you don't have to do it all on your own, and you're not expected to figure it all out, because you can't. It's the music industry, or being a creative person. It's a very complex industry. There's a lot there, and there's a lot there to learn. And almost every other industry and every other profession has this process of mentorship, whether it's called being an apprentice, or being mentored, or just having like personal development within your profession, or having to go off to courses, or get recertified, whatever it is. There's generally this like process. There's this step-by-step process, and someone kind of guides you through it. And in music, I feel like it's really lacking. So that's why I'm putting on this web class, and why I also offer to help musicians and artists of all kinds get their stuff happening. So hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, drop a comment below about your experiences with mentoring, if you have one, if you've ever had one, if you'd like one, and just your thoughts about the lone wolf idea. Do you find that you are a lone wolf? Do you think that you have to figure it out? Do you think it makes you more original? Let me know. I'd love to just continue the conversation with you. So that's about it. Hope you enjoy that. I'll catch you very soon. Subscribe, like, do all that cool stuff. Share this with some other artists, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out, yo.